Hey everyone, NWA Prepper here. So I just did a video on leaving a group. If you don't feel part of it, it's time to leave. So this is gonna for certainly have disagreements amongst us, and that's okay. This is my opinion in my heart right now. It hasn't always been my heart, so I'm totally open to other opinions and other ideas. I look forward to them in the comments. Don't get nasty. Don't get nasty. So when you step up to be part of a preparedness group or a survival group or any kind of group that you want to be a part of, and that group has requirements, and I guess two requirements. There's two sets of requirements. There's a requirement on, we're in a group and we're preparing, and you need to have, within your first 6 months of being here, you need 100. You need a year's supply of food set back at our location for your family. And I don't disagree with that. That's not hard to do with a little bit of dedication. And probably if the group you're joining or petitioning is worth its salt at all, then it's a group effort. And so not being prepared food wise, there's no excuse. My group, when we buy food, we buy more food so it's cheaper, or we buy food and as we're storing it, we're like, oh well, Family D, they're a bucket short of wheat. Okay, I'm willing to give up a quarter of my bucket to help them get to where they need to be. So what it ends up is almost an even keel. Not exactly. I mean, there's certainly some things that aren't. But bulk grains and beans and stuff for sure, So I spent $25 more on this bulk order than you did. We're all splitting it the same 12 ways anyway. But then there are other groups that you have, in addition to your individual requirements, you have to contribute to the common good at XYZ level, whatever level that is. Let's say it's every month when you come to training, you need to bring 5 pounds of food, a box of ammo for whatever caliber you choose, and a bucket. A bucket, a lid, 5 pounds of some kind of food, whatever you want to bring, unless you guys have a plan, and a box of ammo. You meet every month. Sometimes that can be challenging, particularly depending on the ammunition, but it doesn't have to be. So figure that. 5 pounds of food, box of ammo, and a bucket with a lid. Because if you have a bucket, you might as well have a lid. So when you bring that goes to your brigade quartermaster or to your unit quartermaster to be put into the common good storage for everyone. However your group decides that's going to be distributed later, those items get pulled together. They are no longer yours. No longer yours. Those belong to everyone in the group. Okay, so that builds up. That can be quite a bit. Can be quite a bit, actually. and whether you do that per individual or per family, that's totally irrelevant. So let's say that you've been involved in this group for a year or two, and you start to feel that you need to separate, that this group is no longer where you need to be, which happens. How do you think, and you've got stuff out there, let's say you started building a camp for your direct clan, your family, and you go out there and you're separating, and you go out and get your tent and your camp chairs and, you know, your supplies. You load up the stuff you have at your camp, your personal gear, and you take it and you load it up and you're taking it home. Well, that stuff that you contributed to the common good, do you think that's yours? Should you be able to go up there and go, okay, it's been 2 years, that's 24 months, we meet every month, or we supply this every month, so that's 24 boxes of ammo, 24 buckets, you know. Do you ask for that back? I mean, that's a big chunk of change, just the ammo alone. In my opinion, in a group that has that kind of requirement, that is no longer yours. Those aren't yours. Those are everyone's. And so those don't come out of general storage. You know, it's there would be exceptions, of course. Maybe you had a house fire, or I don't know, but generally without exceptions, certainly without talking with the leader and perhaps the council of elders, it's, if that's what you call them, that's not what we call them, but whatever. Without coming to a consensus that there's some circumstance that stuff that you contributed would be released. Otherwise, it doesn't. It stays in general storage. It's everyone's. And that's just how I feel. I feel that you need to have a contribution for the group in addition to requirements for your family. I mean, and that's just it. Now, again, I said there's always circumstances. So nothing can be set in absolute stone. Everything has to be at least semi-flexible. But there needs to be a process for it to be flexible. But once it goes into storage for the group, and you give it up every month or every training, twice a month in some cases, you give that up to the general good. You don't own it anymore. And so when you get mad or butthurt and leave, or whatever, or with good reason, whatever reason you leave the group, you don't own that stuff. Hopefully you will leave on pleasant terms and understandable terms where you share with everyone that your heart has changed. And then that way, if you ever have to come back to the gate, everyone knows, man, they were here for 2 years. You know, they've got a little bit in general storage that they're, you know, if you show up with nothing. I just think that when I contribute my stuff to the group, knowing ahead of time that when it goes in this supply building or that supply building or that supply building, whichever property it's at, I no longer own that. That's everyone's. I mean, and that's it. I'm pretty passionate about that. I have left a group or 2 or 3. I have left 3 groups over the years that all 3 had the general requirement where you contribute every month or every meeting to the general good. And I didn't ask for that stuff back because I knew from the get-go that was no longer mine. Did it suck? Was I angry? You bet your butt. You bet that I was angry. Particularly one group, the contributions were significant. Yeah, it ended up being, it was significant. Significant. 25 pounds a month per family of this, so many dollars of this, you know, so many of this, so many bandages. It was significant. Do I regret it? No, I don't. I mean, would I have liked to been able to scoop that truckload of stuff back? Absolutely. But that wasn't the intention. That wasn't the thing from the get-go. And so when I left, I gritted my teeth and said, guys, God bless you. I'll see you around. And that's it. What do you think? Stuff's contributed to the general good? Should you get it when you leave? Hopefully you're in a group that you don't feel led to leave. But I know not everyone's there. So there are some people who are struggling day to day, and you shouldn't stay there. You should go. But what about that kind of supplies? Let me know what you think. Positive or negative. Please don't be nasty. Let's get ready.